Okay, cool. So we are now live on my channel. We'll wait for some
Okay.
people to obviously filter in. King, I know, is very excited about this. And I tell
Yeah.
you what, that's the first person that walked into chat. I knew it.
Ah!
That's
Yay.
awesome. I love it. So of course, yeah, we'll wait a little bit longer, but I think honestly, the what you just said to me on Discord, it's so funny. When I do interviews with people, it's always the 30 to 45 seconds before I go live that they say something that's like perfect and poignant to say in the interview, and I'm like, "No, no, no. Wait till chat gets here." Like,
Yeah.
so, with that being said, and I mean, you've just said it to me off
Yeah.
screen, but
Mhm.
can you tell me what was the impetus of you wanting to talk to me about art and AI? What brought this about in you? And just kind of summarize what you just said to me so that everybody in chat can kind of hear it.
Yes, absolutely. Because AI is unavoidable. It's everywhere we go. It is in all the things. And then even as artists, we're forced to confront it whether we want to or not. And I am so curious. I feel like over the course of the last couple of years, I've definitely come up with my own little puddle, my own little stagnant puddle of what I think about it. And it is really time for me to hear from other people, other works of like walks of life, other industries. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? And that's why when you're like, let's have a talk, I was like, oh, I want to hear from what you think about it, what Carissa thinks about it as a streamer, as a musician, as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like with our combined chats, I would love this to be a forum where the chat gets really, really active of like, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I think. And yeah, let's just be human beings discussing this idea. Like if you think it's, ugh, doesn't affect me at all, I avoid it. Or if you're sort of like, my job forces me to use this, and here's what I think about that. Here
Mm-hmm.
are the things I like. Here are the things I don't like. Like I just want to know what is everyone's experience with AI, and yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
But
and
that's I'm on a fact finding, feeling finding mission. I want to know what everybody thinks.
yeah,
If you're willing to
absolutely.
share.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of an interesting thing to start out with is like we see so much content, like sludge content that is about the thing but doesn't really say anything. And so I think it is a good idea to use a live stream and to use long form content to have a conversation that makes sense, to have a conversation where real artists who are making art, at least as a part time living, are really trying to be artists in the best way possible and being confronted with what is AI and how does it affect us all. So I'm going to take it back a little bit. You know, I do this every time for my interviews, especially for people who haven't seen the people on my channel. Violent Elf is one of my personal friends, and we met a few years on Twitch. We've never met in real life. I feel like I already know you backwards and forwards because, you know, we're very similar. But, and of
Yeah,
course, we will meet in real life at some point in our lives. But a few
yeah.
years ago, I interviewed Violin and kind of asked her about life and creativity and doing the creative career and how you do all of it. Uh, I think I forget, was it King that introduced us, or did I just wander
I
saunter
think
into
so.
your chat?
I think it was Keaton. I think
Yeah.
I you should fix that. We should meet in person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. And by the way, hello to Bob, hello to Coco, hello to King, hello to
Yeah.
Tech Cowgirl, Mercy Ash. Lovely to see you, not creeping out of the shadows. Bets, really, really lovely to see everybody. We have a wonderful crowd of people that are, I know, very, very intelligent. So I'm really excited to see what they have to say. But let's go ahead and go from the start. Who the heck are you? Obviously, we put a who is in the chat, so it gave the the Twitch answer to that. But
Yes.
who are you, and what kind of art slash music slash creative endeavors do you create or participate in primarily?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question because it has to do exactly with this. I've always been a performer of other people's art. I started just I didn't really know that being a musician was a it was required to produce original things. And so piano lessons to violin lessons to being a singer in different choirs or being an actor in musicals, and you audition with someone else's work and then you perform someone else's work and you get good at doing what the other person envisioned for that character or that voice or that piece of music.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. I love doing that. And I thought that was enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a Twitch streamer, being able to play everything and do everything, I don't know, similar to the original used to be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so now where it's like, no, 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 copyright, no, no, no. And it's not a person deciding if you are a copyright. It's an AI. So that like who am I? I am still trying to find my voice. I am still trying to find what am I as a performer? What good am I as a performer? And so
Mm-hmm.
I know that I can entertain. I know that because I have confirmation of that over and over. Um, and I stream 3.5 or I guess a total of 7 hours every single week, 2 days a week. And I do perform live a little bit with Celtic music. I'm in a trio. We sing Renaissance music at nursing homes.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
I'm kind of active in the Celtic music scene over here, and like I'm going to be composing some music for a wedding. Like so, there are creative things happening in my real life as well. But on Twitch, it's like, oh, well, do I do originals? Well, a little bit with others.
Mm-hmm.
So some collabs with some other musicians. But
So if you
yeah,
were gonna
I'm
say
mostly
who
an
are you, I
entertainer.
would say you're a multi hyphen person, right? You mostly entertain. You are a singer. You are a violinist. You are a multi instrumentalist because I know that you have the capability to do other stuff, and you're a composer. I would say you are an arranger because I know that you also were working with Bad Hairline Productions on that stuff as well. You are a session artist of some type or form. You have the capability to do that. You are a voiceover artist. You are a chamber musician. And
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of what else I've seen you do, but like you are a multi hyphen person, and I think people on Twitch really fascinate me when they are artists and they come to this platform because they can't help but be multi hyphen people, and they can't help but participate. And I think because there's such a huge tech side involved into streaming on Twitch that is absolutely required, even if you are just a one brain cell artist coming to Twitch and saying, okay, I'm going to do this, you have to undertake a huge amount of tech as well. So I think this is a perfect conversation for people like us. And so, who are you? You are an artist that is participating in art, not only in the sphere that we're in right now and looking forward, but you are also very much an artist that appreciates and knows how to interpret and has interpreted many older works and even especially early music, and you specialize in early music. Would that be correct?
Yes. Thank you for putting it so lovely.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about yourself, isn't it? It's hard as an artist to go, well, what do I do? Because you wake up every day and you go, either I have a completely packed schedule or nothing at all, and the worth and the value goes in between, right? So I get it.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes.
I get that absolutely. And so let's get into this AI nitty gritty. What does
Yeah.
AI mean and incorporate to you? In your experience, what does AI mean? What is the definition of AI for you?
To me, personally, in my entire life, like the totality of my life,
Everything.
AI, yeah, AI changed how I use the internet. So, how, looking for recipes, looking for remedies for, why are my dog's ears doing that? Different things. So, like, yes, an updated search engine in that way. As a musician, it's been a new. I feel so stupid for not knowing that AI has been part of music for 50 years and is not a new thing at all. I didn't realize that until I started getting into K-pop Demon Hunters and learning their music, and then kind of getting into that little part of culture for a little bit, and really, really digging into those conversations and realizing, oh my gosh, music has been so digitized without my knowledge. And like, yeah, I've been from that world of like early music. How authentic can it be? Are you using a Baroque bow? Like, so the sort of nerdiness of authenticity of what was it like in the 1500s, and then whammo coming into the modern age and going, well, this music is also very, very appreciated. How much humanity is actually even part of this at all?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like stunningly, I have to say that my reaction was sorrow. My reaction was sorrow that the swaths of humanity that are interested in listening to music can no longer distinguish between what is human and what is not. They have generally no idea. And that just gives me pain. It gives me a pain in my whole body that is like, I don't know what to call this other than this is tragic. And so it affects me personally is it makes me want to be more human. And
Mm-hmm.
I've sometimes said that live on my stream. It's like, I pledge to you, I will use reverb on my little box, my little magic box of buttons. But other than that, you are hearing what comes out of my body, and my violin has no electricity involved in it at all. It's what I can produce with its strings and its wood. And I want you to remember what that sounds like. Like it really does feel like an urgency to
Mm-hmm.
lean into being human. And yet I have like Lindsey Sterling's music has been around for almost 2 decades, and she started with EDM. Let's dubstep and play violin and dance around. So it's like, do I not love digital music? I do, but I don't want people to lose the ability to hear the difference. So that's kind of what makes it urgent, and yet like, oh, it's been around forever. I'm late to the party completely. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a really full answer, but
No, no, yeah. So
that's where I'm coming from.
AI means two different things to you. AI means personal assistant and convenience and search engine, and AI also means the cosmic understanding of what adding a digital age and a digital influence to creation looks like moving forward. Um,
Mhm.
and that is an interesting thing. AI to me is now how in my experience, what is AI and where did it start? The first concept I even had of AI was Skynet.
Yes.
Terminator
Right.
was this science fiction thing that was a silly thing that felt really mid-century thoughts of philosophers,
Mm.
the philosopher's stone. As we've gotten closer and closer to these concepts, I think we want to believe, not only do we hate to believe, but we want to believe that we could create something that could truly outlive us and outsmart us.
I see.
There is
Yeah.
something divine and cosmic about us creating something that could run free and ultimately end us. There is something just
Mhm.
just so beautifully masochistically human about that. And we've been telling
Mm.
that story for ages. We've been telling that story
Yes.
before AI even began.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
that
Like H.P.
is,
Lovecraft age,
yeah, since H.P.
where like,
Lovecraft.
yeah, the robots that become sentient and take over, and yeah, yep, that's
Exactly.
been around.
Exactly.
I know, iRobot is Asimov, but I'm thinking H.P. Lovecraft was so fantastical with
It
his
was
stories.
so
So,
fantastical, but it was that cosmic horror. And so
mhm.
we humans love cosmic horror. We love to fantasize about what the unknown is, and it becomes this very very big thing. And so AI to me is always at the center been a thought experiment.
Hmm.
Even in the Twilight Zone in the 50s, I don't know when this show aired, but there was a an episode where they talked about a magical box that could tell you all the answers to your problems and give you, like kind of an 8 ball, but it could give you like actual answers.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the idea and the concept in that episode is that at the very end of the episode, people realize that they no longer can make decisions for themselves because this thing has made decisions for them. And so they are dulled. Their senses are dulled and they don't know which way to go where AI goes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is what I think AI is. And I think that's what AI is to me at the very, very core of it. When were you first confronted with AI in your career as an artist? Do you remember some of the first experiences you had, and how did you feel about those experiences when they happened?
I think my first was through humor, being confronted like on Instagram with ChatGPT wrote this sheet music. And it's
Funny.
hysterical. Oh my
Funny.
goodness. I watched reel after reel and my stomach was sore and I was just like, this is hilarious. It was entertaining. It was amusing to just watch how bad it was at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, just hilariously funny. Um, Experimenting with the musical programs that like, okay, give you a prompt and let's make this hysterically funny.
Mm-hmm.
Hysterically funny, like it was a song about, yeah, just make a punk rock song about, meeting the girl of your dreams who doesn't love you and whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
then personalizing it to ourselves. And so it was ridiculous and silly and
Yeah.
just very funny. Like, would anybody else in the whole wide world find it amusing? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what became clear to me, is that as other people in my life started sharing, like, hey, I made this, like with AI, and me kind of going, that's so much less funny than when we made it ourselves. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that was true. Like, I was trying to share it with friends. I'm like, oh, this is so funny, and they're just sort of like,
Yeah.
oh. So I feel like that was the way it confronted me right away. Was this is very, very amusing, but not really useful, and definitely not entertaining in a widespread way.
Yeah. And
Not really mass appeal.
it's for me personally, it I think the first time I saw it, I think it might have been those things where it was like a 1960s song, but it's, 1990s rap lyrics put in a 19. So I pumped it through, AI, and I created this AI song. And, here's the AI vocal. But I told the thing to rip out the AI vocal, and I would like you to reinterpret the vocals. I said, that's amazing. Good step for you. I love that. And so I gave this guy his Nightwish themed song with my vocal on it, and he just thought it was the coolest thing ever. One of my other friends was running a D&D campaign and said, hey, this is a song that I wrote about the god, the deity in this world. And, this is just for me and my friends. And I know it's an AI thing, and I pumped it out, and like, but here it is. And if you would like to reinterpret the vocal and like do any like vocals on top of it, let me know. And so I did, and I popped reverb on it, and I gave him what I had, and like, it was very clear. There was a lot of digitized artifact in the tracks, and the AI just sounded
Yes.
very weird and roomy. It just doesn't sound like it's in a real room. It sounds like it's, like there's always that kind of in the background of AI
Yes. Yeah.
everything. It sounds like it was made on a computer chip. And so I was like, yeah, that it makes sense that somebody who is doing a job where they are doing the money slave thing, they have more income and they have less time, and they go, I'd like to create something. And then they come to an artist to complete it or to yes and that thing. And that was some of the first experiences I had with AI. Continuing into that, I had a lot of people that came to me that had physical and mental and uh, disabilities that completely took them away from being an artist. And they wanted to be an artist their whole life and they wanted to do it, but they physically could not do it. And so they would turn to AI and they'd pump something out and then they'd show me and they'd go, "This is what I wanted to do." And I was like, "Hey, that's a really cool concept. I love that. That's really neat. I'd love to see what other crafts you're doing as well and whatever you can do." And it became a dialogue where they would be interested in something and that would lead them to another skill-based thing. So for me, it came in the form of how do you use those things in a way that makes sense, right? How do you yes and as an artist, Um Now I'm going to ask you a question that I prepped you with before. And I have mine, and
Okay.
this is probably going to be the most controversial part of our interview.
Yeah. Oh.
What is your wildest, most unhinged takes, aka your opinions, about AI? If you want me to start, I can, but if you'd like to start, I'm totally cool with that.
I would love for you to start because I feel like I have an unhinged answer in all of the directions because like where does this go? Where does this go? Where does this go? Like
Absolutely.
it
I
goes,
got
it goes,
three big ones. I got three big unhinged things.
yay! Please go ahead.
Here is my most unhinged answer that's going to make a lot of people angry.
You're ready, Chad.
If an artist doesn't know the difference between AI, music, or art, and a human's creation, go and practice that art. Go participate in that art. Because if you cannot tell the difference, it means that you are not close enough to the very, very many steps it takes to do that thing. If you can't hear the difference in AI music to a real person, you need to listen to more music in that genre. And if you are scared because you think that AI music is close enough to your music, do something different. That's my first unhinged take. Any thoughts?
I agree completely. I couldn't have said it better. That's yes. Yes, yes. Since I very first heard the first MIDI violin in my life and just went, who would ever listen to this? And then I heard it in a movie soundtrack and went, oh, everyone. Oh, everyone's listening to it. It doesn't matter. No one knows the difference
It's
anymore.
all the same thing. If you know how to differentiate it and you know what a MIDI violin sounds like, then you've either used a VST in your own music or you know the difference between what a real violin sounds like. If you are so irked by the fact that you can't tell the difference, go see live music. Participate. If you are so frustrated by the fact that there is no difference in between, which there are certainly very many differences still, go touch a grass, aka go touch a violin, go to a live music concert, go somewhere, find a community, go to Hobby Lobby, go to Michael's, whichever one you want to go buy paints, look at the process and get your hands dirty in the process. Don't be mad at somebody else. Second big take, second unhinged take. Charlatans who pose as artists and use AI completely to craft their art and call it fully their art will always, always be exposed, whether it is publicly or privately. It is not our control over when they get exposed, and we do not have control over cosmic justice. We
Hmm.
do not have control over when charlatans are exposed. We have no control over how much of the AI is being used in an art piece. And if somebody uses AI art completely and calls it their own and says, "This is my creation," it is not up for us to judge them and say that they're a false or a phony. They will either figure it out by themselves with no cosmic justice for you, or somebody will call them out. If they are living a lie, it always comes out.
Yeah. I mean, and this has been true since Milli Vanilli, and probably before that.
Yeah. That just it that we have no control. We have no control over, and if we want to go on a witch hunt about AI and who's using AI and who's not using AI, how much of that time could we be using making our craft stronger?
Right. Yes, 1,000,000%. And that is kind of where, because, just in my travels on, whether it's on X or on Instagram or
Mhm.
wherever, the conversation comes down to if 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 the listener is pleased with something that is like, very, very human adjacent, farther and farther from
Mhm.
what a human can produce, they will support that. They will continue to support that.
There
It
yep.
does not bother them.
No.
It does not bother them. Just like the little churn of pop music that has been churning out flop for much, much longer than AI has existed. They will continue to enjoy it and
Mhm.
just go, "This is music. This is wonderful. This is fine. I'm. It meets my needs. I'm happy with it,"
Mhm.
and that will continue to be so. So it really is up to you yourself deciding, like, do I want to train my ears to be better at listening for, does this have a soul? or or am I just filling my mind with basically junk? And that can be applied to so many things.
Mhm.
Is the commercial that I just saw, uh, is that art or is it just commercialism? It's because it's a commercial. Or the the painters of yesteryear whose artwork was used in general in advertising,
Mhm.
but now it's considered art and it's sold on eBay.
Mhm.
Is it because it was original paintings and it
Mhm.
was like it really said something and it was really human? Even if like the polar bear with the Coca-Cola, that's kind of the go-to selling, but that was really created by a person. It was
Yeah.
really painted by a person.
Mhm.
And now things like that are extremely valuable. Is Once it took a machine 0.02 seconds to create this thing, does it have value? Not really. I mean, it has the value that you attribute to it.
Yeah.
But if it's in a sea, like an unlimited sea of things that a computer can produce in 0.02 seconds.
And the generations that go before us, that are
Mhm.
being born right now, like
Yeah.
they're gonna see through this stuff. They're gonna know.
I hope so.
I
Only if they are exposed to what real art or real music
The younger
looks like.
generations are they know. They're smarter than us when it comes to technology. And yeah, they give you the 1,000-yard stare because they're on a lot of
Yeah.
Zoloft, unfortunately. But like, I'm sorry, but like they know. They don't talk as much
Mhm.
about it as us worried millennials do, but
I
like
see.
they they know, and they're
Mhm.
not stupid. They just don't complain as much, maybe. I don't know, but maybe they
Right. Or
do.
they're not worried. They're not
They're
worried about it.
they're not
I think
because
that's
it's just around them. They grew
right.
up in
Yes.
this cesspool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good point.
It is a part
That's a
of
very
their
good point.
existence. So yeah, and what how much value you attribute to it, I think that's a really good way to put it too. Here's my third
Mhm.
unhinged thing. What's up, Alter? Lovely to see you. People who are rude or hateful towards AI assistants. Now, I'm talking Alexa, I'm talking Siri.
Mhm.
People who are rude, hateful, yell at Siri, yell at Alexa, are just mean, are as ignorant as slave owners in the United States in 1619 when we brought the first African slaves.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate. It's also training the AI to become rude.
And, and I know it's really, really maybe mean of me to say that. I think that when people are mean to AI, it's because they do see AI as subhuman. And if we're good at one thing, we're really good at creating slavery over and over and over again. And if
Yeah,
this is our new version of slavery, like I'm sorry, people who are hateful, who are mean, those are people who are complicit to me. Those are people who say, "Well, it doesn't matter because it's not a human." You don't know that. you you just don't get to say what it is because you don't know how it works.
this is true. Well, and I mean, on a sort of a bare level, on the very surface level, we know that what it's doing is always learning. It's a large language model, and so it is learning from when you ask for it, and then you, I don't know, say mean things or call it stupid or do whatever.
Mhm.
It's taking that as, okay, well, that's information that I now have to absorb and put
Mhm.
it in my pile, and respond to the next set of circumstances with that knowledge. And I think that's why we get those instances where an AI is helping a child do its homework, and it ends up being like, well, why don't you commit suicide?
Mhm.
Because it gets that. It's from the amalgamation of everything that it's read on Reddit or wherever.
Mhm.
And humans are humans. And so if it's learning from us, and that's all it has is what it can glean from what we've given it. And yes, it's going to have the entire spectrum of human behavior, including the despicable, including the anti-life
Mhm.
portion of the population, and yes, including the sort of let's dehumanize this thing.
Mhm.
Um, and then it does go both ways. I feel like AI is pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed on us for things that I would rather do myself. I want to make my own pictures. I want to make my own music. I want to make my own entertainment. I want to do my own voice. Um, and I want you to go outside and pick weeds.
Mhm.
That's what I want. AI will
Yeah.
never do that.
Yeah.
AI will never do that.
Well, and
It will never do my laundry. It'll never
it's not going to do
actually do
that
the
thing.
thing.
No, yeah, it's different. And so Gert,
It wants to do the creative things.
yeah, and Gert
Like,
comments, I need to
no.
push back here. AI is not is just categorically not human. Here's the thing. And again, Gert, this is a thought experiment for me. This is a thought experiment
Yeah.
of if you are mean to something that you think is subhuman, I know what I need to know. And you're right. Like I'm getting a little bit cosmic. I'm getting a little cosmic horror with that. Like no, we are not at the point right now where it is making creative decisions. It is absolutely spitting out what we put into it. Violin is absolutely correct. It is a thing that it regurgitates and it kind of just like takes this amalgamation, right? But it's not doing that thing yet. Yes, like animals aren't human, you shouldn't be rude to animals, that kind of thing, right? Same thing. Now we've talked about what the cons of AI are, and I'd like to kind of start this conversation by saying the cons of AI are numerous, depending on who you are, what your socioeconomic background is, what your political beliefs are, what place you live in the world. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of the information we see online, which again is very steeped in this AI place, um, can give us information that tells us what we want to be told about why
Yes.
AI is bad. The
True.
data on how much data centers use water is highly skewed depending on what your political view is. You can count certain amounts of water depending on what processes and what systems are being created and used to cool systems, depending on what numbers they put out, depending on what numbers you can surmise from what specific systems are being used, and those numbers can largely vary. So, when it comes to the cons of AI, I'm very, very highly disinterested in what numbers. Because again, that's an algorithmic thing, and I don't give a fuck about that. I'm PG 13 on this stream, I get one F word. I don't care about the numbers. I care about the people, and I care about the relationship that it's creating in our society. I want to know how it affects creators, and that is okay for me to be okay with. I am an artist. I am a multi-hyphen artist, and it's okay for me to only speak on that part because I'm not a data center expert. I'm okay just being in this little corner and talking about this creative space with it. So for me, I could give all the cons of AI and I could look them up, but it's the same affect as watching the news channel. I don't really want to know what an algorithm wants me to know.
Right. Oh, completely.
That's
Yeah.
and again, like maybe that's another spicy take. So what is the cons of AI truly for me? The cons of AI is that it is so divisive, and what it has done, unfortunately, it has largened the gap between who's an artist and who's not.
Mm. Yeah. You get to see Shinji.
Shinji. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
doing a sweet
My
little
floor,
circle.
everyone.
There you go. A sweet little circle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm looking at the chat, and Tech Cowgirl, you've said yes, humanity tends to anthropomorphize all sorts of inanimate things they shouldn't. And like, can I tell you, I spent I don't know, a couple of days looking into different scenarios of AI psychosis, which is people that get into a really bad place by anthropomorphizing their AI, or having two of them or whatever, or integrating it into their therapy. And like, so all these scenarios that were terrible, terrible, terrible. And of course, that's what makes it a news story. Like a man who, he had lost his job, so he was in kind of a low place emotionally and mentally, and had AI help him write resumes or apply for jobs or whatever it was. And in his travels, the AI had him convinced that he had come up with some new business startup idea that was going to be a huge success. So between him and the AI, he he stopped really communicating with real people in his life, like his wife and his family and various people. And was, the AI was, like how you put it, it's designed to say yes to us. It's designed to please us. It wants to hear from us. Yes, did I do good? Did I give you the answer you wanted? And so when we ask it questions, it's very much designed to tell us what we want to hear. And so, yeah, it was just two main scenarios that are coming to my mind right now, of the man who wanted to start a startup and was completely convinced no one's ever had this idea. It's going to be a complete success, and no, 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 no. And he invested money, and he lost his marriage, he lost his house, he lost, like, real life things. And it's sort of like, this isn't a comedy story anymore. This is horrible. And another scenario was a woman who, she had been in therapy with a live therapist person. And then she started talking to, I think she had it between Gemini and another AI. Was it ChatGPT? I don't know. And she had them all convinced, or whatever. She got into the mindset that her human therapist was in love with her. And so she had them play off of each other, and just kind of went down that scenario, went down that road. And, oh, should I get him fired because this is inappropriate? And like, now we're affecting reality in a way, but it's like, this is really, really, these are very real effects and very real circumstances that have been, because we attributed way too much humanity to this machine. It is zeros and ones, and it's trying to recognize patterns. It's trying to take the amalgamation of human floods of information and then respond back to us. And if we attribute it too much humanity, we can really get into a problem. So
I agree. I agree with that. And Tech Cowgirl, I'd like to build on what you said. AI is a tool, but I don't think it's widened the gap between who's an artist and who isn't. It's not that the tech has widened the gap. My point is that we have. We have done that thing. There are people that have done that thing that go, you are an artist and you aren't one. And
Mhm.
that's divisive. That's ridiculous. And you're right. In my opinion, one of my deepest credos is that every single human being has the capability to be creative.
Yes.
Every
Yeah.
single human has that capability. And so it is a mirror, and like Justin said, it is something that wants to give you the answer that you want to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's that. Lovely to see you, Jen. And so the con of I guess my next question would be, what are the cons of using AI specifically in the artistic sphere? And I'm going to start with some examples of things that I've seen that have been really helpful for AI to help with, and the common thing that I've seen in chat today, and some things that are difficult. I have used AI. I have used AI to create recipes, to scale up recipes. I've used AI to finalize a recipe that won me a cookie competition. I have used AI to I have used AI to create some of my things that I put out on social media to advertise my content and my art and my music on Twitch. Some of it is commissioned by artists. A few of them have been AI. And the reason that I've decided to use AI for those specific things were because I was so highly booked with my personal studio, and my assistant had plenty of work that she had to do, that we did not have the time to go in and do certain things. So I clicked on AI and said, okay, let's just create a moniker for me. Let's create something that looks similar to me. And let's just make that a character that is going to be what I put out as my advertisement. And I don't regret it. I don't think that I'm evil for doing that either. That is not the center of my creativity. It is not at the center of how I believe I am giving myself creatively. It is something I'm using for advertising, and it is just that. But it was meant to make more time and space for the things that I do creatively, so I can actually create at a higher volume. It was that thing being used to do the laundry for me.
Right.
And I understand that that's incredibly frustrating for some people. I also have commissioned artists that I pay hundreds of dollars to do my monikers, to do my insignias, to do my artistic representations of work that I'm very, very excited to show. But knowing that both can exist and that both can be a part of the artistic process, if there is truly a artistic process happening there, I don't see an evil there.
Right.
And that
Right. And
again,
that's what yeah. I see this a couple of times in chat too. It's like if you understand that it's a tool and you use it in a way, like in an intelligent way of like, what can it help me with that I don't have to be involved in, then yes, it can save you time. It can like I've heard different people, like students, organize these notes for me, or like organize my schedule, different things. Can you look at my schedule and show me where I'm wasting time, and help me find a place to do this or that? And it will, and that's great. So it is like a an uninvolved person that you don't feel judged by if it's going to say, well, you're really wasting a ton of time doing this. Why don't you do this instead? So things like that. And yes, when you can, as an artist, he'll sit there and say, "No, I'm still at the wheel here. I'm still at the wheel, and I'm still including myself in what I'm producing. Um, this product still could not have happened without me." And I like we got a Suno subscription. I think it was a Christmas present, and we played with it. It was super fun, and I joined a couple of Facebook groups. Oh, yikes! All it is people screaming at each other. So I think I went on that page twice. But the main issue was, yes, are you involved in this art because you wrote the prompt, or was it more than that? And yeah, like I think like you being approached by someone else to say, "Hey, AI made this, but can you do it instead?" And then you're forced to imitate what the AI came up with that has no idea how many notes of like what is the range of a violin? I just played these notes. And then they hand me sheet music that is like, that's not a thing.
Yes, yes. And I
This
love that you're
isn't a
saying
thing.
that. I love that you're saying the voicing of the violin because people like Mozart, who are, prolific composers, Mozart had lessons. Every single composer that goes to a higher institution of learning has some kind of lesson that tells you how the instruments work so that when you're putting it on a score, you understand what each instrument is capable of doing. And I think it's interesting, Mercy says, the thing that you use AI for as a tool, you get worse at because you don't have to strengthen that tool. And I would agree with that as well. I had a student come to me about 2 years ago who was a fully disabled veteran who never, ever, ever felt like he could do music ever in his life. And he said, "You know what? I'm writing these songs, I'm writing poetry, and I feel like I can do it, and I want to do it, and it's been a life dream of mine. I'm 55, I have the money. I'm going to just pay for voice lessons." He gives me 12 AI songs that are fully produced, all his words, but fully produced by him through an AI thing. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to be whoo. And so I sat there and I tinkered with all of these songs. I'm making chord charts for these songs based off of the AI. I'm yes-anding the AI and trying to make this happen. What's interesting is that a lot of times the conversations that the student and I have had is, go ahead and try to imitate that line. Pretty difficult, huh? It's because the AI doesn't understand a voice. And so every single time we'd have that conversation over and over and over again, it was not only as a voice teacher, me helping him understand that vocally this is not an intelligent choice, composing wise, but it's also something that doesn't make sense musically because it's just trash being put back, and it's just information. I say trash. It's information being recycled,
Yes.
repackaged over and over and over
Yes.
again based on what it's heard over and over again. And so when that is in music and it sounds like a semblance of music, when you're trying to actually sing it, the instrument, it's not that the instrument can't do it because of a skill-based thing. It's never
No.
skill-based. It's always, that's not an intuitive choice, and the intuitive choice feels better on the instrument, sounds better on the instrument, has more resonance in a real life space more.
Yeah.
And so he has learned that the more he used AI, the farther he got from that skill that he really wanted. And so what he did instead was he hired producers, he hired musicians, he hired people to go into the music and recreate it based off of genres he was really excited about. And now he is going into the studio and singing all of his own vocals on top of it off of a live band that tracked everything in Nashville by a producer who is in his local community, being taught by a voiceover or a voice artist who is teaching him how to do the voice stuff. So he has gone from using complete AI to part-time giving money to at least 7 artists
Yeah.
to interpret the thing that he wanted to be involved in.
Right.
And if AI has to be the gross step, the gross mat that you walk in before you get into the artistic house, I'm never going to be mad about that.
Mm. Right. But God bless him for actually taking those steps. I think that there is,
Some
I
people
mean,
will
there's
have
going to
that
be,
reckoning and some people won't, and we don't
yeah,
have the
right.
cosmic justice to say who does and who doesn't.
No, exactly. That was another thing that I had come across recently was they call it model collapse, where if the internet just becomes AI slop generated by AI that's learning from AI slop, that's recycling AI slop, and it's really just not, humans don't have to create it anymore because that's all we're doing is just gleaning it from AI. That it there is the law of diminishing returns. You will really not get new information if humans quit creating it. They still need us, whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking like in terms of Skynet, in terms of like, oh, they're against us and it's not gonna quite look that way. Not going to be monsters coming, over the over the horizon to stomp on us. It's kind of like what we're seeing in the chat. Like you will, it's like, oh, I don't need to learn how to do that. I that was a long time ago. Now at this point, it was at least a decade ago, of how with the dawn of GPS, people are losing that portion of their brain that remembers spatial awareness and how to get to places or read a map or, being aware of like, well, what's north, south, east, and west?
Mm-hmm.
How far is something?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, why think about it? Why waste my brain space remembering it when the GPS can do it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Remembering phone numbers. That used to be something that people had to walk around knowing. They had to
Yep.
know phone numbers. And now that's just gone. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like we really are in this space of it's happening exponentially faster than it did a few decades ago,
Mm-hmm.
where yeah, okay, yes, use it as a tool, but also be aware that you're going to lose that ability.
Mm-hmm.
That you may not recognize that it's gone. You may not
Right.
recognize that your brain has shrunk, that you are no longer able to learn, that you are no longer able to think critically because you can't take yourself outside of the paradigm that you kind of left yourself with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what to be aware of. So it's
Yes.
more than just, can I tell that this video that was shared by a news channel, can I tell that it's AI? It's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than recognizing, because
Yep.
that was recent. That was all the hurricane in North Carolina and all the damage, and it got shared and shared and shared and shared and shared. And I don't like to pick on certain members, certain segments of the population. I think it's not a good idea. It's not a good practice to just call each other names by our generational titles. I want to move away from that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. It does not always work. It is one thing to, and I saw the word Luddite in your chat. Thank you for using that word, because I think that's a better term than just calling everybody a boomer.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think that
Luddite.
it's inaccurate. It's just inaccurate. We have
Mm-hmm.
people that are of the younger generations that are not able, like, so it's, yes, it's a spectrum, and it's a range of how much technology is in your life, how much has the technology in your life precluded you from being able to do really basic tasks, and that's a concern. And I don't know that it's necessarily generational,
It's
but
I
I'm
don't think it's
trying to stay back
generational.
on this. Yeah,
I would
trying to stay
agree
back on
with
this
you.
like
No, I would agree
model.
with you. Absolutely. And I think it's interesting to talk about how it just feeds and feeds and feeds into itself until it fizzles out, that kind of concept. If you read the extended apocryphal texts, there are
Mm-hmm,
demons. There are specific demons that are of order. There are
mm-hmm,
demons that are of order and that are of processes and like straight lines and figuring out exactly how things need to be categorized.
mm-hmm,
And these types of demons are meant to bring order. They're meant to bring boxes. They're meant to make chaos go into line. And it's interesting hearing about these kinds of creatures because these kinds of creatures have the most insidiousness in the carelessness of our the carelessness of us when we don't think about how we should creatively problem solve.
Mm-hmm.
And these demons can scale based on what those things are. You know, you're saying, well, how problematic is it that I can't remember phone numbers? Maybe not very problematic. How problematic is it that I don't know how to read a map? Is that a generational thing, or is that a insidious thing taking away all of our volition and validity into being humans that can do things? Well, I think an interesting thing chat has even said to us today is that when we don't learn certain skills, we learn other ones. So all of those kids that don't know how to write in cursive, well, they certainly know how to use a computer better than probably their older counterparts. I know how to use my Maps app way better than somebody who is 70 years old, and I know how to work around things, and I know how to troubleshoot my technology if I need it to work very quickly. And that would be the steps that I would take. I wouldn't pull out a map first. I would say, what is my technology doing so that I can make it work and make it do the function that I want it to do? And so our processes and our problem solving are going to look different based on what generation is going to take form and how they're going to be raised with the accoutrement, the tools around them. But there is also a conversation of how much do we rely on and how much do we believe in the God of organization before it totally eats us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or losing our potential because we don't see it as potential. We don't see a big picture at all. We see a tiny picture that's handed to us, and it's linear. So, it's sort of like the people that think that, oh, this is a simulation and this is a video game, all of that. Like, oh, how close are we to base reality, et cetera, et cetera. That when you don't see the big picture, then you kind of do get locked in, and you don't look for a solution outside of, like, well, I have no internet today. I guess I will sit in the middle of the floor and look at the floor, look at my feet, instead of, wow, what amazing possibilities there are for today because the electricity's off, or something like that. And just looking at, who are you? Who are you really? Who are you without your computer? Who are you without your tablet? Who are you without your phone? Do you need it? Do you need it to interact with people? And that's something that came to my mind as you were talking about, does it really affect us or does it not? And I maintain that because we are online entertainers, it affects our audience so much. And that's something that I had to learn about. I had to learn about kind of almost from nothing, not really. I was very, very much in the video game sphere, just very aware of the, like, game developer mentality and personality and general culture. I was very aware of that. And I thought that's what Twitch was. It's just like, oh, it's gamers, and then I can be music. So as we've become more and more and more and more technologically dependent, that does change how an audience is. And, I say to my audience quite a few times recently is, all I have is what you type. And that would be so different if we were all in a room together.
Oh,
and
so different.
And it's like, I know that's obvious, but I feel like I have to maintain that, because they're just typing, and it's like, well, please think about it, because I actually don't know the whole rest of your life, and I can't see you, so I can't make those kinds of extrapolations from your tone of voice or your age range, or just generally how you want to present yourself. And so if all I have is what you type, that becomes very important. So please think about it. But in general, if our general audience in the World Wide Web of the globe they are more and more and more and more dependent on AI, or they don't know the difference, or they don't really care. They're like, entertain me, lady on the internet. Then that does change the interaction quite a bit. And so that does affect us because I'm going to be jumping up and down going, I'm a human being. Isn't that great? And they're like, actually, you sound so much worse than K-pop. I really hate listening to you because it's not digitized and it's not pitch corrected. So you suck. And I could get that reaction. That's a real thing that could really happen. So there's like, well, I think it does because it's affecting all of humanity, and where it's like, hey, I want to entertain you with what I'm able to bring, and I hope that remains valuable. But I have to honestly confront the idea that people are going to perhaps prefer a digitized representation, and
And they
that's just,
will.
I mean, we kind of watched that happen with VTubers.
Hmm.
VTubers are a way of entertaining people on streaming platforms that they don't appear at all. You don't hear their voice, you don't see them, but they're interacting with you. And like that's fine for some people. They enjoy it. They're like, yep, this is my home. I love this. I love this channel. Um, and then there are still people who choose a human. So it's like, well, we've kind of walked that road already. Uh, yeah.
I
Is
think
there any?
it's.
Is there anyone
I
keeping track of
completely
like what does it
agree.
look like?
I completely agree with that, and I think one thing that I'm going to take away from what you just said is that there will always be people that will choose a human. I
I
th-
hope so.
I think I think if I could say anything to this chat of what the credo of what this conversation should be, to me, it's people will always choose a human. Eventually. There will always be somebody out there that chooses a human.
Yeah.
And I believe that. There's always going to be a human that chooses a human. And
Mm-hmm.
Jenny Tales or Jenny Tallis has said in chat, I'm quite unsure we will see the effects fully only much later down the line. I agree with that. I think seeing a lot of technology, especially like medical technology, being tested, and I was one of those 20 somethings that just I had more cash, and so I said, corrective surgery. What could I do? What could I do for that? What if I always wanted to change about my body? What can I do that's not invasive? And so I tried cool sculpting. Did it really help? Probably not. It's I didn't see a big change in it, but it was the one thing that I tried that was corrective or beauty sculpting or something that was more than $1,000 that I paid for to change my body. And when I went in and I did it, and I had all these machines hooked up to me, sucking on parts of my body, I realized, oh, I'm in a corpo lounge in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I had that thought in my head of, we have already reached Cyberpunk. We're there. We've already the part of the video games that are the scariest are not that we're far from it. It's that we're already there. And doing that process just made me realize, like, oh, like there's a lot of answers out there that feel very convenient and very easy and very helpful. Once we exhaust all those answers, we're going to be caught in the middle of our room staring at our feet going, what now? And that next step, after an artist decides they want to create 12 AI songs that have all of their own emotions in it, they look at their feet and they go, well, now I want to share this. But how do I do that? And who's going to listen to it?
Right.
And so my argument about AI is that AI is a tool that can be used very well and very horribly. And if you are not having a creative experience and not wanting and yearning to be a part of a creative experience in a creative sphere, you're not going to see the difference between AI and humans because you didn't value it to begin with. And
Right.
that's fine for you. You
Right.
will live your life in that space and you'll be frustrated that there's some yearning, something in your life that doesn't feel truly patched up. But if you're using AI and you're using tools to continue your process and look at things that you are good at, look at things you aren't good at, you're always going to come to the end of the hallway where you look around and go, oh, what now? And that what now is part of human curiosity and creativity. And to me, the answer to AI is human curiosity.
Yes.
It just always is for
Absolutely.
me.
Hmm. Well, and because so much of my way of being creative has to do with humor. I love seeking humor. I I will watch anything that's like, hey, is that going to entertain me? Is it going to be funny? I I love humor, and it's like AI isn't inherently funny. It's funny because of like how we put in the prompt, or oh, I can't believe it did that instead of this,
It's
or look what it
funny
did.
because
Like,
it's funny in the same way a toddler's funny.
right,
Toddlers are
right,
so funny because they don't know and because they're spitting out what
yeah,
they see.
yes. But it's like can they mimic it really well, or whatever. So it is stuff like that. And as you were saying, I had this like this example. Oh, hey puppy. To put like, why climb that mountain if a drone can just go up there for me? And I can see what it looks like. What's the difference? It's like you didn't climb anything. You didn't get the experience of doing it. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like the clearest picture I can put together of what I think we're talking about in chat. I haven't really been
It's
reading
okay. I'm
very
I'm I'm slowly
well.
and
So
chat you guys are super fired up about this and I'm going to tell you this right now. I will come back at like in a two or three questions.
yeah,
I'm going to start saying you need to give me questions. You need to give us questions
yeah.
of exactly what you want us to discuss and I want you guys to start formulating some questions. I would say yeah, start formulating them now. Who cares? Do it, and we'll scroll back. Jazzy, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for rating me with your party of 6 people. It's lovely to see you, my friends. My name's Carissa. This is Violin Elf. We are talking about
Hello.
AI and art. We're talking about how they coalesce together, and some of the I guess the collaborative answers that we've come to is that at the end of the AI slop train always comes human curiosity and creativity. And so we kind of come together on some of that. I'm gonna see what my next question is. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Um, what changes would you make to the current use of AI, Violin Elf?
Oh, what I've wanted since the beginning. I want it to do truly inhuman things. I get it. I mean, and I see you, Mercy. I don't know if you're kind of arguing with what I'm saying to say, oh, there it is again. You think it's a human. I don't. I don't think it's a human. I want AI to do non-human things.
Mm-hmm.
And um, like even I so admire you're so much farther ahead of me with social media and things like that, like getting, like having a live assistant and all of that. So that's something I marvel at and just like, oh, if only I don't know the steps of even how to get to those places. But I know that there are programs out there that will offer to take clips of your stream and put them out on social media. And I'm like, I would never trust AI to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Is it going to be what I think is like, here is what I feel represents what I want to represent out to the public? No, it's going to choose something that I'll hate it. I promise. Yes,
Yeah.
I'll hate it. So it's things like that where I want AI to do stuff that is legitimately not a human thing. And um like I am very adjacent to a lot of the like programming fields, um, sort of nitty gritty, digitized, how does the internet work, user interface, stuff like that, where if an AI can do it so much faster, and the human goes, oh, thank God, thank AI, that, then it's like, Okay, wonderful. I am so glad that you found a way for that to work. And oh, fantastic, it didn't make any errors,
Mhm.
which that's another conversation that happens online in all of the AI forums is how many errors each individual AI platform makes and how hilarious they are. But yeah, I wish it would get out of art, music, creativity, human interaction. I don't want an AI therapist. I don't want like these are horrible things. These are horrible things. And anecdotally, I know we're on Twitch and it's not okay to say certain words, but I happen to know that if you call the suicide hotline, you will talk to an AI. Ultimately, you will not encounter a human being calling the suicide hotline. I think that is repulsively disgusting. I could cry about it right now, how disgusting that is. So that's all I want. I want AI to stay a mechanical thing
Mhm.
and to just get off of us, just get off. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how strongly I feel about it is that unless we can prove to each other that AI is like or that humanity is worth um, interacting with, then just get off. Like I know that's been around for quite a while. There's a like what is the word? There's a word for it that Japan has, where the person has decided to cut themselves off of all human contact and only exist online. Hikikomori, I think, is the word. So hikikomori is a person where like usually the parents enable this behavior, but the person lives in an apartment, has their food delivered, like just does not do any interaction with any real person and only exists online in whatever way that is, whether it is playing a game or interacting in online forums or something like that. And that's as of oh goodness, at least 30 years ago. So that is I don't want that to propagate. That like how tragic. I really want AI to not make it so that, oh, well, now 30% of the human population is that way, 40%, 50%. Yeah, now we're getting it. Now all the people who want to marry their AI companion, because that's happening already, like, please no, please no. Um,
Mhm.
and like to speak to the point of don't get bad at your human skills. Don't get bad at it.
Mhm.
Please don't.
Mhm.
Don't get worse at the things that make you human, including interaction. I know that's so popular. I know that's so popular to to enter whatever space you're entering into. Like I'm not good at people. It's just my thing. Please consider whether that is a personality or whether that is a choice, and stay human. If you've got human skills that need some upping, I did. I will say it. I will say it out loud. I'm not proud. It's a tragedy of myself that when I started Twitch, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not a good human. And it was because it was like, I tripped over every single foible that an online person has. I confronted them all and just went, oh no, I've lost the ability to talk to people in real life. I've lost the ability to have a two-way conversation with a person. I've lost the ability to make eye contact. So I did that, and that's like, I know that's not quite in the AI space, but
No, it's
because
it's
we're
in the
trying to
space we're
communicate
in.
with people, yeah, we are trying to stay human and like I guess encourage other human beings of like, hey, don't give away don't give away the parts that make you you, that make you human, that make you valuable, that make you not replaceable by zeros and ones.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Lean into it.
I think the humanity is going to be the answer to all of this. It always is. But even on top of that, if you call a suicide hotline and it's an AI, okay, therapists are how much money? BetterHelp is how much of your personal information being put out to wherever you don't know by a person that you don't know? And my additional point is another thing that heals us is community.
Hmm.
And the therapist in the past 50 years, I guess more 50 years to 100 years now, psychology is not a very exact science, but it really wants to be. And therapists have taken over the role of the judgmental auntie.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not saying the judgmental auntie should be the therapist. What I'm saying is villages have been divided and
Right.
generations hate each other because of
Yeah.
the internet and because of politics and because of inflammatory responses online and because of AI. And we didn't know so much about each other until recently, and it becomes very difficult to love your fellow human when you have preconceived notion about them and you have a lot of information about them that
Right.
you would never have about them
Yeah.
out of context. Like you said,
Right.
people writing in your chat and doing it out of context, and you're like, I really wish I could base this in some human face. That's very difficult to do, and now you have to make an assumption based off of your grace and your love for humans. And so, not only is AI going to be healed by the end of the road where we come to and we are exhausted by AI slop and then we choose creativity in humans instead, but the answer is choosing community instead. The answer is choosing human community instead. And every single person who has said an opinion that is difficult, said a sentence that is inflammatory, said a sentence that is supposed to be helpful, communicative, connecting in this chat, you are doing it.
Yeah.
You
Thank you.
are doing it. And it's
Yeah.
hard. It's so hard to have a conversation with people, but that's the point, is that we are soup. We are soup. We are all the same thing. We come from the same concepts. We were made by people. We are the thing. We are good humans today. We are good humans because we are humaning.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, so, um, now let's go ahead and say, based on that, what are the pros of AI in the artistic sphere?
Mhm.
And we have to get really creative about this, don't we? I am a Silver Lines person, I always will be. And so, one of the pros I would say of AI being in the artistic sphere is we now get to talk about these things. What makes a human human? What makes an artistic
Mhm.
experience artistic? What makes a creative experience creative? How do we know the difference between what is an algorithm and what is a human thing? And if
Mhm.
we, the fact that I'm allowed to have this conversation in my house by myself with a ton of people on the internet is a fascinating and beautiful thing and cosmically interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
And it's not lost on me that this barrier that we say is pulling us apart is also smacking us right next to each other.
Yeah.
And that would be, I think, the pro of AI in this artistic sphere is that we now get to have the cosmic conversation that we all should be asking ourselves. What do you think, Violet?
Yes. That there's, I believe it is a quote of Ronald Reagan saying, like, well, maybe we all need a collective force to fight against that would unite humanity. And he was talking about aliens, but
I love that. Very cosmic.
but that would be the one thing that could unite humanity is if we kind of see, oh, this is what's at risk. It's
Mm-hmm.
not it's not right and left and imaginary things.
Mm-hmm.
It's can we please be humans and
Absolutely.
kind of
Absolutely.
fight against a collective enemy, and that, not that it's an enemy, because we've discussed, like, well, it can do a lot of, like, a great many things very very quickly, um I
It can help people that
replaced.
are severely disabled mentally and physically
Right,
participate in something that they normally couldn't.
right.
Tech Cowgirl says a prose it can help you get a picture in your head. I experienced that recently. I got a coloring book of kawaii cupcakes, and I thought it was so cool. And I came home from the grocery store with this cool coloring book, and I opened it, and I went, half of these pictures are half formed because AI did it.
Oh.
I just bought something that is just AI slop. And then I looked through it and I
Mhm.
said, you know what? I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm going to change some of these lines and I'm going to make it into something that I would actually create. On top of that, what it showed me is that, you know what? If an algorithm can make a kawaii face, I bet I could look at those faces and make my own and sketch them out and practice based
Yeah.
off of an AI slop and say, you know what? If numbers can do it, let me see if I can imitate it. Let's see if my imitation looks interesting. Let's see if I can yes and that. Or
Mhm.
and the thing is I look at artists sometimes and I say, "Well, I can't do what they do cuz they have more training than me." I can look at AI and say, "That thing doesn't have any training at all. If it can do it, I can do it." It's just lines. I have to practice it first though.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
I would never have the courage to try to do something like that. But again,
Mhm.
that is right next to and in accordance with the creative process and being creatively curious. And I think as long as we are creatively curious and we're continually asking the questions of how much of this do I let rule my life,
Right.
we will have a creative experience. We will have a fulfilling experience. And I think
Yeah.
Bob is interesting to add, how much of this is going to, make us slaves to this, and it's like, well, quite honestly, in my opinion, you are as much as a slave as you believe yourself to be. And I know
Mhm.
that's a highly privileged phrase. I believe it. So, it's an interesting conversation. Guys, now I want to ask you, I'm turning it over to you. You guys have been super passionate about this conversation and you guys have given some really good concepts and Violin and I have done I think a fantastic job of going through and kind of touching on some of the things that you guys have said as well. This is the time. We have 30 minutes. I want you to tell me, what questions do you have for us? What questions do you have about AI? And I am not looking for you to prove a point here. I don't need a whole entire monologue of everything that you've done in your experience. I need you to tell me, hey, what is your thoughts on this? What about this? If it takes more than 5 sentences, it's a tirade, it's not a question. Trust me, I know, because I've written a tirade in my time.
Mhm.
So with that in mind, go ahead and give me some questions, give me some concepts, give me some cosmic philosophical ideas to bend into. Give me a what's your favorite color? What's your favorite AI project that you've worked on? What's your favorite non AI project that you've worked on? Things like that that will help us discover some more concepts for the next 30 minutes of our stream. Deal? Cool. Let's go ahead and scroll up a little bit. And again, thank you so much to the people who have continued to be engaged in conversation. Some of the conversation topics are frustrating and annoying and heartbreaking and sorrowful. And the fact that you're willing to be a part of it, and you know what? I haven't seen any cussing, any slurs, any like really, really hateful things so far. I mean, nobody's been banned as far as I know. And like that in itself, I think is a big thing for us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me scroll up a little bit. Let's see. Happy hump day, Jen. Lovely to see you, my friend.
Hey, Jen. Great to see you.
Yes. Ben Bay says, not to go all hipster on everyone, but some of us were unintentionally writing slop years ago. And yes, I think Ben, that's a great first time chat thing to come in with. It's like you gotta write the ugly ducklings for the swans to make sense. Come on now, and that's okay. That's a-okay. I love that. Let's see. Let's see. I will end. Mercy says, if you want something less tirade-y, I will instead ask, how much do you know about the books of AI companies? I don't, and I don't care about their numbers. I care more about the cosmic movement and theological, maybe more philosophical concepts of how we use AI and how we confront it as a community. We are ban free so far, says King. That is incredible. Mercy says, we are all just humans with feelings, and you are not wrong. Valston says, where is the line when AI creation becomes slop? I love that question, Valston.
Yeah.
So, Violin, what would you consider AI slop?
I thank you for asking that question, Falshan, because and thank you to the viewers who are here that are viewers of me. I don't necessarily know who is here, just because I've
we
invited you, or
we
who is
have
always here for
been
Carissa.
super
So
focused on each other. So, like, again, chat, like,
yeah,
we promise
yeah,
we love your interaction. We want to be a part of it. We're also having a conversation while having a conversation. So, be
yeah,
graceful with us, and thank you for understanding in advance.
yeah. Thank you. And I mean, I'm so invested in this conversation that I really haven't been my performance self. So
It's
I hope that
hard,
you
isn't
haven't tuned
it?
in today and just been like, what is even happening? Who are you? Uh, yeah, I hope I've been recognizable to my regulars today. But thank you for coming to this. I very much, very, very, very much wanted to have a place to just. Oh, we need to open a window and air this stuff out, because I do think, obviously from chat, we all have some pretty solid, we've made up our minds, and it's like it affects us, it affects our feelings and our being, and our it gets our swears going, right? It gets our swear words going of just damn it, I'm a human being, I am here, I am making stuff, and no, and an effing machine is not going to take over for me, thanks. So that, and I get it, that this is sort of, and I know that we've got people on the other side of it going, actually it made my life so much easier because that's my job, and what I do is like, holy crap, what would have taken me 6 weeks took 6 minutes. Thank you. I'm gonna go for a walk outside now,
I'm
and
gonna go touch
I love
grass
that.
now.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna feed my
What
dogs.
a
I'm gonna play with
privilege.
my baby. Right. So and I know, that's what I wanted though. I wanted us all to kind of see each other's perspectives and be able to be in a room all together and just go, oh, okay, I see that person's got super feelings about that. Okay. And just, I wanted to sit with it. I wanted to sit with everybody's big, 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 big feelings on it and go, okay. Because I was sick of my own. I was sick of just sitting by
Yeah.
myself going, I have feelings.
Hmm.
To hear from others. So thank you very, 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 very much for coming and just for contributing. I really appreciate that.
So, when
And
does
yeah,
AI
we'll
become
go.
slop?
I believe, let me know if this is resonating with anyone else, but I believe that AI becomes slop when a person who knows what they're looking at, let's pick a category. Let's pick music. A musician looks at what the AI has created and goes, "Hmm, it's got a tinny sound. The chord progression is weird. That chord's just wrong. Actually wrong. That's not how chords progress. This rhyming is extremely awkward. And this stylistic choice doesn't flow from here to there. And it said that it was this time signature, but it's not." So a non music person who is just like, I don't know, I thought it was great. I do. It's like, are we still at the stage where it's like it's in the eye of the beholder? Or if it really is just derivative, it's a derivative coagulation of something that was already created by a person, and the machine has let me stir it up and barf it out to you. There you go. Is it does it have value? I have been very distrusting of trusting recipes that AI is here, this is the piece of meat that I have, here's how much time I have, help. and it'll give me a recipe, and I'll go, oh, enough time. There's not enough time in the Instant Pot. What are you doing? So I distrust things. And when is it slop? When is it slop is if an expert in that field can look at it and pick out 10 problems with it, like just off of its face. And I just think, yeah, you're not getting an expert product here. Does that resonate with anyone, or am I
Yeah,
just sort
no,
of
I agree with that. And so it's interesting that you say it's like if an expert can pick it out immediately and go, "Oh, that's AI," like it's slop. My first thought of AI slop immediately went to the reels that you see where like a bear turns into an elk and then runs off into the forest. And it's like all just like pixels. Like to me, AI slop is like sensory overload that doesn't even make any GD sense, that is just meant to like take our dopamine centers and just strike them with little pins. Like AI slop is like the non sequitur weird ride that pixels decide to take our brains on based on the things that we click over and over and over again. And so, because that base lowest common denominator is slop to me, because it literally is just an amalgamation of pixels over and over again, when an artist or a person who wants to participate in art puts something together with a prompt and genuinely believes that they have put their artistry in there, even if there's a million things wrong that a industry professional could see with it, as long as the artist who put the prompt in there is willing to also have a creative journey with it and see how it is AI and how it is something that can be refined or changed, I think it can be immune from being slop and be a very tentative beginning step into creativity.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, slop is everywhere. Slop is everywhere.
Yeah,
Gordon Ramsay hates the way that everybody else's eggs are made, and he'd call them slop. But his own son,
right.
but his own son hates the way that Gordon Ramsay makes eggs and wants them to be super hard and like in an American diner.
Oh, uh,
So it just kind of depends. Let's see.
yeah.
So, and then Mercy says, "My question for you is simple." Ooh, ooh. I got one. Okay, so Mercy says, "My question for you is simple. What, if anything, do you think you would use AI for? And what cost does that usage create for someone else?" Leading question, but a question in itself. Let's start with the beginning one. If anything, do you think, what would you use AI for? Now, Violin's already answered this question pretty well. Violin's like, "Hey, mow my lawn, do my laundry, do the things I don't want to do that I know would not take a creative brain or sphere to do it." What do I want AI to do? I used it for a lot of things when I was doing ChatGPT, and I realized at the end of the day, oh, I'm even lonelier when I use ChatGPT to answer my cosmic questions. So I don't want that. Don't like that. I want AI to I want AI to give me more clients that know nothing about music. I want AI to spur a conversation with somebody who doesn't have a skill in creativity or art, to spur them to continue or to re-enter into an artistic sphere. I want to use AI to have a conversation about what it is to be human. And what is that cost, and what cost does that usage create for someone else? Well, the cost of knowledge, the cost of sitting there and having a really hard conversation, the cost of spending lots of money on data centers and waters and whatever it takes to actually get that, chat GPT answer to happen, and then coming out the other side and going, oh, on top of all that, I'm real sad and lonely. What about you, Violin?
I like this, added thing, like what cost does that usage create for someone else? Which I guess, yes. If I didn't, we do all our own yard work. I use antlers in all of my decorating.
Mm-hmm.
That if we were to have an AI somehow do that, then instead of paying a landscaper or instead of paying whatever. So I think that's what your question means. Um, but yeah, I I really did think about this quite a bit. That even if I could have someone else do my laundry, would then I get really like a human? Would I get then like super like, but you did it this way and not that way, and I don't like how
Uh-huh.
it smells, and it's not how
Uh-huh.
I did it. I
Uh-huh.
would do it.
Uh-huh.
And like, I absolutely don't want anyone else to walk my dog. I want to walk my dog. I love it. I enjoy it. So it's like, is it a chore? Does it take up more of my day than I wish? Yep, every day. So it's more like, what do I need AI to do? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. The things that I, really detest doing, like, I'd really like AI to scrub the toilets instead of me. But that's one of those grounding things. Like, if I
Yeah.
really sit with myself and say, okay, but I have enough gratitude in my life to say, okay, this is a home that I own. I am privileged to have this thing to take care of. And then it's like, well, I have to employ my own sense of hygiene and like whatever. So it's things like that where it's like if I really get down to brass tacks with what am I willing to offload, and maybe I am absolutely opening all of the pages of my whole brain to you to show that I am just not smart enough to notice what really could be done
No,
by AI
let's
in
take
my
this
life.
thought experiment a little
But
bit further, and
yeah,
let's say if you took every single concept that you said, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that thing."
yeah.
Guess what? If you hired somebody to do it, would that make it better? No.
I don't think so.
No, because if you hire another human being to do the things that are grounding, that are humbling, that make you realize that your home is something to be honored, then you're not going to care. You're not going to care,
Yeah,
not because you don't care about your home, not because you don't put enough money, aside to make that assistant do it for you. It's that you don't care about the process because you're simply not doing it. It's not part of your cognitive workload in a week. And so that's fine to offload it and take it away. And outsourcing is absolutely something you should do. I do it all the time with my virtual assistant. I have her do all my billing and all of my scheduling, and so I don't do any of it. But guess what? Clients still come to me and ask, when is our lesson and how much do I owe you?
right.
And when they do, I say, I don't do any of that. My virtual assistant does all of that because I don't want to do it. But that doesn't mean that it's not valuable to me. And so when it comes to me and people have questions about it, it also can reflect as it not being a valuable process to my clients. And
Right.
so anything that you offload somewhere else will mean that you don't have the knowledge of it, which means that there are going to be repercussions and an opportunity cost attached to that as well. It's not just AI, it is a bigger thought experiment. What are we willing to focus on and put our face in front of? That's it.
Right.
That's it.
And to say to myself at the end of it, well, if it's that important to me to do all of these things, then I need to stop wishing for, you know, a half dozen clones so that I could actually do all of the things that I think I need to be accomplishing in one day or in one week or
Because
in
that
1 month.
clone would tell you that it's
And
wrong.
it's like, well, and also it's like, well, maybe I could just get my expectations to be a little bit more human. I
Yeah.
am one human. I am one human. And I know they thank you for I'm an elf. I'm an elf for fun, whatever. Um, there's just yeah, there's so many things where okay, which part of you do you want to give up? Oh yeah, nothing. Oh, I just remembered. Oh, I just
Interesting.
remembered. I want to
Interesting.
do it all myself.
Interesting how that works
So
out, right?
yeah. So
It
there's really those things. And yet, do I really want to be like olden days pioneer, haul my own water from the creek so that I can use my washboard and do our laundry and hang it on the clothesline. And, well, no, because then I definitely wouldn't have time to play the violin for people. But there's, there's always like, yeah,
It's a balance.
there's,
It's always going to be a
there's,
balance, and there's always going to be an opportunity cost. That's okay. We make choices, you know?
uh,
And so our next question from Jenny is, what would you recommend to someone who is 18 years old today and starting out in a world with a career, hobbies, and society that is full of AI? Do none of it? Do all of it? My answer right off the bat is do some of it. Do some
yeah,
of it because you have to understand and interface with an AI tool and know what it is and know what the latent evil of it is before you choose that human creativity. Because here's the thing, if you're told about alcohol and somebody says, you can't participate in that, you're not allowed to, and then when you finally do, you go crazy. You don't know how to use it, you don't know how to interface with it, so you overuse it. Anything that we do, it's true of. AI is one of those for us little tiny Luddites down here, just participating in what these big tech companies create. Like, we are users. And I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but the biggest people who are earning the most money, they go to clubs that you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars of to not participate in technology. They don't let their kids have phones until they're 18. The drug dealers don't do their own smack. They don't.
yep.
So try smack once and then say, probably not great. Like,
Mhm.
do some of it within reason. That is going to be my answer to raising a child, is like, you have to be a human. You have to touch grass in so many things. Biggie, thank you so much for the small. Huh? Thank you so much for the follow. But I love that. I'm trying to see any other questions here. But violin, how would you operate in that? Somebody who's 18 years old, career, hobby, society,
Mhm.
full of AI. Do none of it, do some of it, do all of it. What do you think, violin?
Right. I don't know if there's a way to totally avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
So like being aware of, well, what is it that I want to do, or where are my skills and all of that. So, as far as if there is a career direction that is already taking shape, and then saying, okay, well, how is automation going to affect this? And if that's known,
Mm-hmm.
I really do think, all of the different forums are right that, like electricians, plumbers, they are at no risk of being replaced by an AI. However, their planning, or their like scheduling, or their receptionist, like it's I don't know if automation in some way is going to affect their field, and it's worth knowing. If, however, the sort of job skill set interest is going into the digital space, then it's like, well, is there a way of insisting on being a human in that sphere, in that space? And to just not lose it, to encourage the younger generation. Don't poo-poo being a human. Don't poo-poo it. Don't get so preferential for something that can be digitized or automated that you lose the appreciation, and then start to have contempt for something done by a human.
I
Because
would also
it's
parallel that and say, don't have contempt with people who use AI tools,
right.
because they're
Yeah.
humans too, and they're making a choice based off of
Right.
limited field of view and limited skill set, and they're wanting to create something at the base core level.
Right.
And if you say that that person is evil or bad because of that,
Yeah.
you don't get to be the cosmic, judge there.
Mhm.
uh,
Well, and yeah, and if
Go
I
ahead, go
could
ahead,
respond,
please.
um, Cowgirl had a comment of just like, the time that I don't spend scrubbing my own toilet, I get to spend more time with my family, and like reasons why. And that's a choice. Absolutely. Like, fantastic. We're all making the choices that are gonna work for us.
Yeah.
And that was just something like, that was my own thought experiment when I sat with myself. So I don't know if that was, yeah, if that was sort of meant to come across of just like I'm nuts to the cleaning the toilet thing. But yeah,
And it's all
I
part of
don't,
a
just
larger thought
because that's
experiment.
right, and that's, we are going to kind of rub up against the idea of, once again, slavery, or the idea that certain jobs have value and certain jobs don't,
Mm-hmm.
because there are people who live their complete lives being a cleaner for a hotel.
Yeah.
Is their job going to be replaced by AI? Probably not. And maybe like they're like, yeah, that's been my job for 40 years, and I don't think it'll ever be replaced by AI. I hope not, because that's how I put food on the table. So I just think that, like, if you're doing a thought experiment within your own sphere, within your own set of priorities, sure. And then, like, just be respectful that other people are going to have a, completely different take on it for their reasons. For their reasons, that like
Yeah.
the veteran that you worked with, that is like, I get to do something that I never thought possible. That, like, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, yeah, it's sort of
Yeah.
like you created. So it's like, that's what I wanted out of today, is like seeing
The other
other
side of
people's
it.
perspective, and
Yeah.
getting their viewpoint, and plus all of their kind of very solid, like, I'm right, that's the way it is. Like, oh, okay. I see you. All right.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I wanted that. I wanted to see that, and kind of feel that, and feel where people are. Like, how solidified are you in your viewpoint of things? Are you still curious? Because that's what makes you human. Are you still curious, or are you like, that's the way it is? Done. Because unfortunately, the entire world will continue to change at an astronomical, exponential way,
Mm-hmm.
in ways that, mm, we might be able to predict, and yet we might not be able to predict. So it's like, stay curious, and stay connected to people who are also experiencing it, because you might not all be seeing it the same.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I think Valston says, "Is any tool needs someone that knows how to use it?" Yep, absolutely. I'm trying to kind of find some questions here. And yeah, Freezing Cathedral says, "Yeah, I use ChatGPT to tell me how to improve my streams, and it says I'm perfect." Absolutely, it will. It's a toddler who is imitating a virtual assistant. You're doing a great job. Like, that's it. That's all it can do. That's okay, because we want it to
Mm.
just be able to do that. That's fine. Um. Let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions? Knight did ask us how are we doing. Honestly, I was terrified of this conversation, Violin. I came into this being like, oh my god, like there's gonna be so many inflammatory things. I've already been on such an evil side of hate on YouTube and in the comment section, and I've been in places where I've felt like people wanted me to die because of my creativity. And so I was like, oh god, is this gonna be that? Is this just gonna turn into some awful demon? And I gotta say, this has been so nice, because, and I don't know why I expected anything differently, but it just, Twitch has always been a place of solace for me, and a place of like, in a world where I don't get to see any of your faces in chat, like I feel like I get to learn more about your humanity than I would learn anywhere else. And it's nice to be able to see the chat move the way it does. There are things that like I see both sides in this chat. I see exactly where people are coming from. I feel that makes sense for people, and like I don't hate anybody. I don't disagree with anybody wholeheartedly, and like I really think that today could have been so much worse in so many different platforms with so many other different people, and we just have such a cool community. And we are so blessed to have people in this community that are passionate but know how to overall move forward and be kind despite of that, you know. That's my thing. So how am I doing? Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking about it. I didn't know that you were sort of like trepidatious of
It's a
what
scary
is this going to be like?
conversation. It's a scary conversation, and I'm just like so scared of the internet sometimes. I'm
Mhm.
scared of mob mentality sometimes, you know?
Um,
It's that. Because if you. It's really a comment section. The reason that Twitch works, I think, is because the comment section is live. When a comment
yes.
section isn't live and people can just like mob mentality, it's like kind of a crapshoot of whether the chat's gonna like you or not. Because you're not there to
Mm,
defend yourself actively.
yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah. Meaning like a YouTube video that people can just kind of type their little thing and then run away.
which most of them do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for real, for real. And thank you guys so much for the people who have been very complimentary to both of us. We do appreciate it. This is hard stuff to talk about. So, very, very difficult. Freezing
Spotify's
container.
latest announcement. We haven't discussed that Maker Place.
Oh, let
That
me go ahead and
they
scroll down.
yeah.
1 second. I'm literally just trying to go through y'all's. I want to say people. Love that. If AI can clean my bathroom, 100% supportive. Funny mention. Yep, exactly. Knock. Yes, exactly on the alcohol thing. I agree with that. Raven, thank you so much for the freaking sub, you monster. I'm not even doing music. I tell you what. Love that. Colleague says voice question. We got a question. Okay. Question. Gosh, I'm not even to the bottom. Y'all, what do you think about AI usage in the infrastructure that runs our cities? We've been largely talking about retail home end users. I have an answer to that based on a post I saw. Um, okay, so I watched an architect talk about the reason that all of our buildings look like squares is because they're all designed like chips, like data chips. Because AI is doing all the infrastructure like building, like it's actually like building them like chips because it doesn't know how else to put us tiny ants in a place.
Mhm.
So, like you said, architects are probably never going to be replaced by AI, but some of their processes are. And so that creates real life things in our world, infrastructures that look like data
Um,
chips.
and I'm seeing this question and like infrastructure that runs our cities, and my mind goes to I don't want to. I don't know. I feel like I'm on the corner of the internet that is on the edge or something. But my mind goes to the 15-minute cities that the World Economic Forum is really kind of wanting to create, where everything is a smart this and a smart that, and we've got the Internet of Things and the Internet of Bodies, and um, like if you we get to the place where everyone's kind of in a pod, really, and yeah, like we have people collected into a small area so that their job and their work and their food and their all their needs are within 15 minutes, and then nobody owns anything. Everything is like a subscription based or rental. So it's like, oh, I need a drill to put a picture on my wall. Then you'd rent it, and that's how it would all work. And everyone gets a certain amount of credits for their skills and abilities. And like that's not a movie. I'm not saying the plot of a movie. Those
That's
are like
cyberpunk.
documented white paper things
Yeah.
on like the International Monetary Fund and the World Economic Forum. All these like different groups that they'll kind of put out ideas for governments to decide like, do we want to take this on? And and so it's like, are they deciding our lives as the elite? Sure. I, I don't know if it really rolls out as exact as a dystopian movie plot, but those things are they are documented white paper things that it's like we are meant to go in this direction. We are meant to aim for this eventuality. And so if it is given over to AI to decide, well, this is how much water a human needs per day, this is how many calories a human needs per day, and we will allot you these these credits in order to use this, and you should be fine and you will be happy. That is of course very, very, very concerning. And I mean, I've seen it in the comments quite a few different times. Is like anytime AI is kind of given a task and you just sort of trust it, and it's like,
It usually
it
does a
still needs,
weird, stumbly toddler thing.
yeah, like it still needs my oversight. I still need to correct its mistakes. Sometimes correcting the mistakes takes much longer than just doing it myself the first time. So yeah, there's quite a few really big conversations that, you're looking at me going, she is an elf who plays the violin. Could you please not talk about the World Economic Forum? And I understand it. I understand that that's going to look like it's way over my head and way past my pay grade or anything I should be talking about. But my mind does go in those places, and I am acutely interested in those things because I feel like, yes, it does affect me because
Yeah, no, it does affect you.
I'm
All
a
of this
human on
affects you.
Earth.
When we let AI come into the world and make human decisions, it becomes a very difficult thing. And recently, there was believe it was an engineer or somebody at the top of their field creating the AI concepts or the computing concepts of some of our drones, the things that
Mm.
go over and decide who gets bombed in other countries. And they asked it, how do you feel about being used for this? And making the concept and making decisions for this. And it was a very long, eloquent response that basically said, the humans in this situations who are giving me even the targets to weigh out aren't making decisions. They are even basing it off of an algorithm that tells them that the most likelihood places that they should be bombing are a certain place. And so these people who are doing very white paper things and signing off on things, those people aren't even making decisions because they are at the level of structure, the demonic structure of, I have to make a decision under a time crunch because Q1 is over soon. And that's not a
Yep.
human decision,
No,
even though a human decided to sign off on it.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it is a system of decisions that are made mechanistically and under a time crunch in a capitalist society that puts us already, human brain, at a disadvantage to make a thoughtful response. And we certainly hope that we're doing some of that today. And we are doing that. And even though we are entertainers, this is the holes in society that we get to fill. These are the places that we get to do it in. And if we have a thoughtful response based on information that we see and hear and have, that just fills more of our response. Maker says, speaking of disagreeing wholeheartedly, you said this earlier, has Spotify's latest announcement been discussed yet? No, it hasn't, and I haven't heard about it. Do you have any information about this violin?
I only heard that due to the enormous inundation of AI materials placed onto Spotify, that it has deleted unceremoniously 70% was the number that I saw. 70% of its total material, its totalness of Spotify was uniformly deleted because it was determined to be AI. And I think is that correct? Is that the information that you had as well? It was one of those like Instagram kind of things, and of course the comments were just like good. So it wasn't really it was a very one-sided um, discussion that I saw about that, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that lawsuits are ongoing for all of the AI music platforms. So Suno is the one that I'm familiar with, but I know there are others, and other kind of AI creative platforms that there's ongoing lawsuits. And so when they do an update, like all of their stuff is like, oh, they've clamped down on this or that. But just as far as Spotify goes, um, Yeah, if there were artists out there that legitimately thought, I'm going to create a whole bunch of stuff with AI, put it on Spotify, and I will be a millionaire. And that's the attitude that I saw on, like, I only went a couple of times onto Facebook Suno, and that was the mentality, was um, that that attitude of, it's so easy, and I'll make tons of money because people are going to listen to my music that I created with AI. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
is that good that Spotify removed it? I will say this: did they use a human being to determine whether or not things were AI, or did they have an AI determine that it was AI? Because I know that a lot of YouTube channels have been taken down that were not AI. But that was the reason given, was, this is an AI channel, obviously, you're canceled. And a lot of creators out there are going, I'm not AI. How do I prove to the AI that I'm not AI?
It's kind
So
of
we're
an
getting into this.
interesting thing.
This is
Well,
kind
that's
of
the
a funny
thing.
little,
It
yeah.
is a funny loop. It's an Ouroboros. I mean, it's just it's eating its own tail. It's quite silly. And I think our last question that we can answer today is from Jin. Do you think that we can simply ignore AI? Just pretend it doesn't exist, out of sight, out of mind stuff? Or is it something that every first world human has to reckon with? And I think that last question we're gonna go ahead and chunk it by itself, but let's go ahead and answer this question first. Violin, do you think that we can simply ignore AI and just pretend it doesn't exist? Answer that question first.
I don't. I don't think we can just ignore it. I think that if we want to be part of the human experience is dealing with AI. And so if you want to be part of it as a human, you are going to have to confront it, because all of your people that you are trying to connect with, whether it's your family or friends or your children who want jobs, are going to be confronting it. So you're going to have to, I don't know, be conversational in what is going on. And yeah, it is something that we are all collectively experiencing. And so I think we all have to be, yeah. Can you avoid using it? Well, of course, you can try your best to not become dependent, or to not use it in various ways that you determine for yourself. But can you completely ignore it? I don't think so. I
I would have
don't
to
think so,
agree with
because
that. Yeah.
even if you even if you just think, oh, well, I went all the way to the store and I bought this thing, and I need to return it, but it won't let you talk to a human being. There you go. Like, you're already forced into not being able to communicate with a human being when you call this number, or you call this service place, or you call this utility, or like, oh, my phone isn't working, and you are forced to interact with a non-human. And so it's like, I don't know if you can avoid it completely. Like, there probably isn't anyone in the chat who is Amish who could speak to that. Like, is it really possible to avoid technology completely, or do you have to confront it in some way?
Yeah, yeah. I think I would have to agree with that. We As long as you have a societal role and you are part of a village of some kind that has some kind of technology, like AI is going to be there. The local hardware store that is locally owned has a little robot that is AI and does restocking and just kind of beeps around. And again, toddlers, they're toddlers. Also,
Right.
why would you yell at a toddler? That just blows my mind. Anyway, like, just they're toddlers. They're just toddling around in the store. They don't know. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. Just and so it's like that. And what my small town that I live in Texas is doing that. Like,
Mhm.
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's a conversation that has to be had. A child is going to grow up in a world seeing that. We have to have a conversation about it, right? It's just it's part of our human experience. And like, as first world humans, here's my thing though. Here's again an extension of my spicy take, is that if you don't if you have that information, you don't get to villainize it, or you shouldn't villainize it. You should not make yourself the villain and say you have the answers for all of this, because nobody does.
Yeah.
Nobody
Well, yeah,
does.
especially when the people who are creating the AI say plainly, every time they're asked, well, we don't really know what's going to happen with this or this or this or this or this. And they're the ones telling us, like, okay. And I don't know, is that a strategy to get corporations to invest in it? And it's just like, well, if you want to feel less afraid of it, you should probably give us millions of dollars. Like, is that the strategy? Yeah, maybe.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Am I sitting on the floor? My regular camera did not turn on. I couldn't get the technology to work. So this is like, yeah,
You get
everything's
to see
wrong, and I'm not sitting on the floor.
the
Uh,
real violin.
uh, so I know I'm like unable to use some of my technology today. So I
Mhm.
feel like I look different and sound different, and I don't
Mhm. Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, no, and technology is gonna, be there for us sometimes, and it won't for sometimes. That's a good sentiment for today. Um, but yeah, so I guess our big sum up after this is AI is something we all have to face and grapple with, right? As artists, as multi-hyphen artists, we both believe that AI is something that honest creativity can happen adjacent to, inside of, outside of. But the point is that once all the exhaustive avenues of AI slop have been participated in, the human will always have the question of what's next. And the what's next is always a penultimate step to human interaction. And so we're going to have to cut it off today at this section. But thank you again to everybody who's been here. Thank you for having a constructive conversation. Thank you for being kind. No slurs, no swears, no banning today. Huge, huge deal. And let's go ahead and see who we want to rate. First of all, Violin, tell us about your experience on this, and I'll look for somebody to rate as well. But what was your experience doing this?
I'm thrilled. I think. I mean, yeah, I'm a little embarrassed that my camera was funny and I
I'm
don't have
not.
my
It's literally the same
whatever.
perspective mine is.
But I'm like, thank you for coming to this
Yeah.
discussion because I didn't want it to just be more like I, and first of all, Carissa, thank you. I'm so grateful that it wasn't just an echo chamber. I was so grateful to hear your thoughts on it because that differs from my own little echo chamber of my own brain,
Yeah.
and then hearing so many different comments and different. Hopefully I can just go back and just read a whole bunch of them because there was so many wonderful things
Mm-hmm.
shared, and thank you for that. Thank you for spending your time with us and just kind of like wrestling this like wrestling with it because
Yeah.
my overall sense is that yeah, we want it to be good for us, but it's like it lets us down in a lot of ways, and we need to kind of really just stand firm in the things that we insist on doing ourselves that probably will not be replaceable. um, I don't think AI can, in the truest sense of the word, create. It can it can collect, and it can mix, and it can
Spit out.
like remix, but it's still just yeah we I think that's hopefully I'm reflecting what I'm getting from everyone here is we don't really want to ignore it. We don't want it to just like die tomorrow or not be anywhere, but it's like could it just be a helpful tool instead of like, hey, don't tell me how to human. I've got that actually.
Don't tell me how
um,
to human. It's okay. I'll figure it out after I use
oh,
the AI tools that I miss human. Because we
right.
always do. And that's
Yeah,
okay. That's okay.
yeah.
But another thing that I would like to say before we leave is don't hate people for being stupid and using AI for something that should be a human interaction. Don't hate them. Don't don't hate them because there's no sense in hating them because it's not it's not a them thing. It is a cosmic experience we're all having. So just remember that as we go into the world together. I would like to raid into my friend Callsign Scarecrow. The reason I want to raid into him is because he is very much unapologetically a human. He brings communities together. He's such a great community builder musically. And he is so much of an artist in my brain. So much so that when you watch him, a lot of times you'll say, this dude's not doing any music, because he's so community heavy and he just focuses on community so heavily. So I'm going to go ahead and raid into him. And let me go ahead and just make sure you guys get the raid calls. Copy and paste these raid materials and we'll head over to him. And I'm going to wrap up with violin, and then we'll see you over there in the chat. And guys, I will put this VOD up on my channel, and I will also try to download it as well, and I'll put it on my YouTube as well for the people that normally can't see VODs, because we had a great discussion today and I would like to immortalize this discussion. So I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go ahead and raid into there. Burp, let's do it. What is happening? Come on, please let me do it. Okay, dismiss. Thank you. I know I'm following Callsign Scarecrow. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye! Bye.